Um, so thank you for your time and being here. So tell me, what have you been up to? What card shows have you been up to, going to, and how has that experience been for you?
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit.
Oh, I was asking you, what have you been up to, and like what card shows have you gone to, and how's that experience been for you?
I've been going to card shows for like 2 years now, give or take.
Yeah.
And yeah, I started off by going to card shows and kind of like buying and learning from everyone. I'm asking a lot of questions, about what's selling and what they think about, selling at shows, if they think it's worth it. And I actually, the first show I ever set up at was the Union Marketplace show. And when it was in Pachanga or Pachanga, whatever,
Hmm.
in Temecula. So that was the first show I really set up at, and I really did the whole nine. And I had my banner and my cards and value boxes. I did well there. And one thing that I realized that I liked more than even selling, because at that point I had only sold on eBay and sometimes sold at shows. But being a vendor at shows is so much fun. You really get the entire experience that way because you have so many people coming up to you and selling things. You get some cards. You see some crazy cards that come up to your table sometimes. And then you still have an opportunity to go around and look. If you take someone with you. Obviously, if you're alone, you probably don't, but you kind of get a sense of camaraderie with the other vendors, and everyone's there for the same reason. It's literally to buy, sell, trade. I mean, some people might want more cash that day, or they're looking to buy. It's always different, and I think it's a lot of fun to set up at shows.
Hmm.
So media marketplace is super fun. The SoCal premiere show in Brea is fun. Yeah.
Hmm. Um, One thing I wanted to mention to you is that you have a really genuine approach, and I appreciate how you incorporate the things and the people that you love into your social media and all the things that you do. Was that something that came naturally to you, or is it something that came over time?
No, honestly, like I'm a people person. I just love people, and the biggest reason why I'm still in this hobby today and still I love it so much and I decided to do it full time is because of all the amazing people I've met, honestly. Like
Mm,
Mark, Ultimate Pastime, Wiley with the Union Marketplace. They're just such good, encouraging people who love sports and love cards. I think the more we continue to, build each other up and meet each other and really get to know each other, we see that we're kind of all cut from the same cloth.
right.
We're sports fans, card fans, that's what we are.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. We're a bunch of card nerds, so we should embrace that.
Yeah, and I
um,
think growing up specifically, being a girl, I never knew that many girls who love sports as much as I did. It
hmm,
was very rare, honestly. I think in my entire life I've probably met 2, and now it's so refreshing to meet so many women who love sports. Now even maybe more than I do. So that's been a really great experience for me.
that's awesome to see that kind of growth and passion, um, expanding out into with everyone, which is important, I think. Um, that actually leads me to a couple of questions. Um, what are some ways that you think we, because historically, it's been a boys' club, the whole sports cards and trading cards and all that. So, what can us guys do to create a fun and inviting space to have more women and girls come into the hobby? People that like sports cards and non-sports cards and gaming cards, and just more like an enjoyable pastime as opposed to, you know, some kind of niche thing.
Well, I think I don't think that's specifically just to women. Well, obviously, we want more women and more kids in here, but I think that's just an important question for the whole hobby, for
Mm,
the hobby as a whole. because we just need to focus on the people, I think, like building community, um, creating spaces for trade nights or having card shops where people can hang out and creating workshops and making content that's more about helping people get in and how to collect, I think is important. And I think specifically with girls or women, is again, this is the same rule that I use for myself or everyone. It's just very assume positive intentions, assume that that person does love sports and cards. I think that sometimes maybe the problem where men assume that, a girl is not necessarily into cards as much or they're doing it for the wrong reasons. I think I've seen that a little bit, but yeah, just assume positive intentions and be genuinely interested in meeting new people and hearing their stories and asking to hear their stories. I think that's just the win-win approach, in my opinion. That's the approach I try to take with people.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's really solid. I'm with that. And I think outside of the whole cards thing, that's been a problem just in society in general. And this is just another aspect where that gets highlighted. So, um, we all have a lot of work to do, I think, in regards to equality. But I think as long as we continue to have these kinds of conversations and discuss it, and in a civil way, try to make furtive actions towards making it better, than um, it's going in the right direction.
I completely agree. And my take on that specifically too is to get highlighting the discussion aspect is important. We do need to talk about these things more, but we also need to listen more.
Mm,
We
mm,
need to put enough emphasis on the listening part. So how do we become better listeners? And that's it. I get, like I said, a lesson for everyone. It's not only for men, it's women
mhm.
and children too. How do we become better listeners?
It's really well said. Yeah, that's a mic drop there. um, well, I guess changing the subject a little, since we're both Angelinos, what do you think of what's going on with the card scene out here? Is there much of one, or um, what can we do to grow it? That kind of thing. And it's like kind of piggybacking off of what we were just talking about, but like fostering community, but like for LA.
I think it's the best card scene in the world.
Yeah.
That's not an understatement. I mean, that's how I feel personally. Um, I think there's a lot to be said for someone like me to grow so quickly in this space within a year. And I really believe that it's due to all the people that I'm surrounded by. So
Mm,
the card scene that we have here is extremely welcoming. Like I don't know if the word that people use a lot is the vibes. The vibes are always good.
yeah.
So whether it's at, trade night at Average Joe's on Wednesdays, Wednesdays at Frankinson Collectible Show, Diamond Nine on Wednesday, Diamond Nine on Saturday. The Union Marketplace Show has quarterly shows. They also have trade nights at Batting Cages in San Diego. Now the Burbank show that we have, which is
Hmm.
incredible for this scene. I think we're doing all the right things here, and we have some amazing people behind it that really have the right idea, I think, when it comes to growing the hobby. And the card scene in LA is very community centered, very how do we give back and grow the pie? So
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to be in this area as far as the industry goes. Yeah, we have card shops like Bullpen LA, Jaspy's in Hermosa Beach.
Hmm.
I really think this is the place to be, and I don't think I'm exaggerating.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of really, they've got it down, you know, the, some of the people that you were mentioning, they've been doing it for a long time. And, uh, you know, the fact that we have that there, but we it's such a densely populated area here that it's kind of hard to miss. but in smaller areas, there's a difficulty, having as many people or, the space between where there's big cities and stuff. So we're fortunate in that way geographically. Um, but yeah, you make a very good point. There's a lot here. There's some good places on the East Coast. I haven't been, but you know, we we've got a good scene here. And what would you encourage? What would you recommend as an encouragement to grow it?
Um, just do as much as you can to give back and promote those positive interactions between new people. I think
Mm,
is super important. Especially if you're a vendor, I think you have a responsibility to make people feel comfortable and have a good, positive first experience, because that can be off-putting for people if they go to a show and no one struck a conversation with them and they're not the most extroverted person. That could probably turn them off from going to a show in the future. So I
mm.
think just very again to the very same I'll stick to the same thing. The same theme is, put the people first. Cards and the money is second.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Because no matter what business you're in, you're dealing with people, and we all have our stuff. I was just talking about this the other day with Sebastian from Pristine Auctions. Um, we're talking about like uh, he was talking about it in the context of athletes and signing and that kind of thing, and like interactions and how uh, you know that can make or break an experience. Like an experience, a good or bad experience can make or break kind of a fan for a player or a team or something like that. And I think because there's been such a magnification, because they're seeing them on TV and they're having the experience of, with their friends and stuff, and they root for the team, and they don't really interact with them very much, um, in any kind of a real way, but aside from spectating, and then when they interact with them, it's like really magnified because they admire what they do when they're on the field or on the court or what have you. And if they're having a bad day or something like that, or if they're not the most extroverted person in the world, um, then they might say or do something that could be off-putting to the fan, or the fan could do something or say something that's off-putting to them. It's just like there's so many different factors that go into that. But it works for vendors too, and I mean, because we're all people, you know, we all have our stuff, and um, hopefully, that kind of thing can get mitigated and minimized. Um, but there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, I agree, and I think as a vendor, you have a responsibility
Yeah,
in that
to
way.
to
It's
make
create
it.
positive first experience.
Yeah. Any tips for vendors to do that? Like, what would you recommend as far like having some kind of games or giveaways, or um I don't know, maybe for people that are not so extroverted, um maybe uh any tips for them, like doing things that doesn't necessarily make them the forefront or put them where they have to speak to everyone, but maybe do something that uh or create something that can be inviting so that they don't have to interact as much, or I don't know. Like, what would you suggest?
I don't know. First of all, my opinion on that is if you are sitting at a show to sell, you should be selling. And if something like being shy is something that you're worried about or not knowing how to do anything, recommend, focus on self-growth there. Put
Mhm,
yourself out there, do something that every day that makes you scared to kind of grow out of your shell. I think is super important to be that way as an entrepreneur, business owner, and someone who's out there. uh, we're in the business of selling things, so you need to learn how to do that or hire someone that does you
mhm.
know And again, the being just a good person and nice to everyone, that should come natural. I think it comes natural to most people. I don't think you have to go all out and do a game or give stuff away. That's not necessarily necessary, but it's just treating people with respect and kindness, smiling, saying, "Hey, how are you? Have a great day."
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Putting people first. Yeah, because your customers are your bosses, and you know, just treating people with care and kindness, it goes a long way. And when you touched on something I think is really important with the whole self growth and being comfortable with being uncomfortable, especially in the selling context. Um, that's really valuable, I think. Um, because there's more to it than just the cards and what you're pricing it at, because that you can get that from anywhere. Hmm.
Yeah, you make a great point. What's stopping someone from buying the same PSA 10 Zion that you have in your case versus eBay? I really think it's the connection between someone that I have a ton, I have a handful. I don't want to say a ton, but a handful of vendors that I go specifically to buy to. Like I trust that first of all, I
Hmm.
don't mind supporting them. They've supported me in several ways, so we've built that connection and that relationship. And I know that if I want, X amount of cards for whatever thing that I need, I go directly to that person in the future. And
Hmm.
that's so valuable. And I think people sometimes they might not see that aspect of deals because what's popular on YouTube is the trade up challenge and getting stuff for a steal and kind of
Hmm.
winning a deal over someone, but I don't think we highlight enough of those mutual win-win deals,
I
those
agree.
those mutual relationships that have built over time. So you know what, I gave my friend a deal this time because he gave me a deal last time. It's not this is not in any way a get rich quick thing. You can't go to a show and buy a case for 70% of comps. You just don't, that just doesn't happen. And if
Hmm.
it's out there, there's so much that wasn't shown. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. That's a really good point because I think that's a thing about American culture in general. There it's a very predatory kind of aspect to it because there's so much individualism and with capitalism and all that, it kind of lends this uh competitive nature to it. Like instead of celebrating one another, it's more um popular to see someone going and trying to uh take advantage of someone else and try to come up and that kind of thing. And even with our music, because my background is in music, I see all these like American Idol, America's Got Talent. It's all competitions. Um there's no showcases where we're just look at all the talent that we have like we did before.
Yeah, I agree. And I think no, and like I said, I believe in the future of the hobby and I really love the culture. I think we're not as bad here yet. And maybe there was a time during when it got really crazy and it peaked that there was content out there like that, but it's growing. I see a lot more like people-based relationship building content, love of collecting type of content. That's what I enjoy to watch.
Hmm. Hmm. So hmm, have you been collecting since you were a kid?
So I collected Pokemon cards as a kid. and I kind of, grew out of it. And once I started playing softball, I became more interested in baseball and watching it religiously and being a big Dodger fan. And I started opening packs like maybe my freshman and sophomore year, and it just so happened that that was also Kershaw's rookie year. So that like 2008 top set is my favorite and pretty much the only one that I opened. And then again, I just I've always been a collector of things, I think. I wasn't specifically into cards. Like I would collect the Love Is clippings from the illustrated section in the newspaper. I don't know if you
Hmm.
know that.
Hmm.
It was because I got the newspaper every day. I would collect clippings of like Dodger photos from the newspaper from the LA Times and yeah, a bunch of stuff. So when it comes to cards per se, I had no idea that rookie cards could be valuable. I was ripping retail wax. I had never pulled anything crazy out of one, like an auto or something.
Hmm.
So when I heard that cards were crazy again, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get my dad, a card for his birthday. So I did some research and I found out that eBay is the place to go
Hmm.
for whatever reason. Actually, I think I have a friend that collects Funko Pops, and he's like, "Why don't you check on eBay?" And yeah, and I just got lost in it. I think I saw like a Lamelo Ball, and this was draft picks. This was before like the regular Prism even came out.
Hmm.
So it's ridiculous to think back to that time and how much those cards were going for. I was I was amazed, and they look so good. You had like your red cracked ice, your orange ice, green scope. I was just like, I was falling in love by the second.
Yeah, all
That's
the
how
designs and
thing.
everything.
Yeah, the zebra and the tigers. I was like, these are awesome.
Yeah. I think the artwork is something that is really understated in because the focus is on the players and the teams and all that, and there's so much of that. But I think the designs are just as important. And some people pay attention to that kind of stuff, or they like the color match for their jersey for the team, that kind of thing. Um,
Oh yeah, I like to say that, obviously I'm a big sports fan. I always have been, but sometimes if, maybe we're all in a spectrum as card
mhm,
collectors. Like, are you more a sports fan and you care less about the cards? Maybe we're all like in the middle. I lean a little bit more towards the cards, I think sometimes. I just fall in love with the beauty of these sets. Like I'm also an art fan. So to me, like a set like Origins that just came out, it's
mhm,
gorgeous. Like why wouldn't you want your favorite player on that card with
yeah,
a silver auto or a gold auto? Topps flagship set is just like classic and clean looking. I love to see it in an SGC slab. That's why I'm not particular about like a grading company that I use. It's all about what looks better in the slab to me.
hmm,
That's the only reason why I would get something graded. Obviously, I would love to have like a set that's all tens, but I choose different grading companies based on the card and how it would look in the slab. I don't know if that makes that
yeah,
makes sense, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Value wise,
It's an
yeah,
aesthetic. It's an aesthetic.
exactly. I I take that into account a lot.
Hmm. Do you have a holy grail, or have you know
Like a grail that I want one day or that I own or yeah.
both? Yeah. Tell me about one that you have, and then tell me about one that you want.
So the best card in my collection that I absolutely adore is my Kershaw Koufax dual patch auto.
Oh,
So they're
nice.
both player worn. It's out of nine, I think. I'm forgetting now, but it's a beautiful card out of tribute 2013, right before Kershaw's peak. I love that card, never selling it. And one card that I really, really want, I will have one day, is Kershaw's Bowman Chrome, his rookie in a blue
Hmm.
refractor auto.
Hmm.
So I want the blue. I know it's not as I just want that color match, like you said.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Geez, now I'm thinking about uh what card I would want to have. Is Kershaw your favorite player?
He is. Yeah.
Mm,
So like at the peak of me watching baseball, like Kershaw was coming up and he was my guy.
mm. Yeah, I want to do a break next season with you and a bunch of other breakers, and like get like a box or a booth or something and rip some wax. I think that'd be fun.
Oh, you said at Dodger Stadium, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Um, we'll have to make that happen in the next few months or something. Coordinate that. But yeah, I want to thank you for your time. This has really been very edifying, and I think your perspective, if people are listening, you know, they'd find a lot of value in it, and yeah, just need to keep spending the time to focus on the people and creating good experiences so that people will want to come back and do
Mhm.
more.
Yeah,
So
thank you so much for having me. This was a really good conversation. It's really good to talk about this and kind of refocus what your actual like goals are, and mine is just to bring joy to people the same way I think. I know it's hard to say. I want everyone to be into cards, like me, but I know that's hard. But kind of maybe if I can show that, I chose something that I really love and enjoy, and I'm able to like make a business out of it, number one, but number two, also spread joy to others. I think there's so many people that can find that hobby for themselves where they can do the same.
mm.
So it could be like, I don't know, plant collecting. People do, my brother does plants. I can't think of other hobbies.
Oh, there's like coins and stamps and
Playing video
uh
games is also a
video.
very,
Yeah,
yeah, unifying community experience could be.
movies and yeah, video games, books. um the list goes on and on. Yeah, that's really well, yeah, well said. And I we'll have to do this again sometime, and have you go back on, or if you are having you do this kind of thing yourself. You have a podcast.
Kind of. I'm like amateurishly trying to do like a IG live series. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we'll have to for anyone that's listening, at Mama Breaks, she's the founder of that. So um look out for her on all the socials, and much love.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care. Have a
You
good
too.
day.
You too.
All right,
Thank
bye
you.
bye.
Bye.